Sightings of a mysterious, tall, hair-covered, man-like creature have been plaguing our country for centuries. In fact, these sightings have been plaguing the world. What could be the answer for this phenomenon?
So, there's only one answer. I can only cook up one conclusion.
Don't tell me you're going to start bringing back this crazy idea. We all know it's not true.
There's only one possible conclusion. Aliens!
Bigfoot. Bigfoot.
Bigfoot does not exist.
First of all, there have been sightings and stories of Bigfoot all around the world for centuries. There is no way at all that that is a coincidence. Second of all, there is scientific evidence that concludes Bigfoot exists. Cold, hard facts. Saying Bigfoot isn't real is like saying Santa Claus isn't real. Oh, wait. Let me tell you a story. So, as a baker, I bake a lot of cakes. That's what I do. This one time, I got an angry review from a customer telling me, that my cake wasn't perfect. Is he stupid? You know what I did? I told that customer that I would make him the perfect cake. Now you're probably saying, Michelangelo, that's impossible. It is impossible for anything to be perfect. Let me tell you, I was skeptical too, but then I made it. I made the perfect cake, and I gave it to the angry customer, and boom, instant believer. Now this was nowhere near my best creation, which is a story for another time. But still, what I'm saying is that it's not impossible to do the impossible. I turned the skeptic into a believer by giving him a first-hand experience of perfection.
Bigfoot is such an absurd topic that people have come up with absurd theories to go along with it. One of which is that Bigfoot is an alien. The other is that Bigfoot is a spirit of the forest. Now both of these sound completely insane. Arguments behind them are just as far-fetched. People believe that Bigfoot is a spirit of the forest because of how elusive he is. Some people say that it mesmerizes them once they see the creature, that they are too scared to take a picture or a video. They're lost, and they don't know what's happening. It's insane. Other people think that Bigfoot's an alien because there's correlation between UFO sightings and Bigfoot sightings. They theorize that Bigfoot is an alien on Earth because of its similar DNA to humans, and they're using it to test to see how it is affected by our atmosphere. It would explain why nobody has ever been able to find a body, considering the theory is that aliens take it back. But it could also be just that it doesn't exist.
So, let's talk about Grover Clance, my idol. This man is very highly regarded in the Bigfoot community as one of the best. So, he had this theory, and boy, this theory is beautiful. So, as we all know, Bigfoot is real, 100% real. But what is it? Well, Clance theorized that Bigfoot was a Gigantopithecus blackie, or some variant of a Gigantopithecus, which is an Asian species of ape that was said to have gone extinct. Now, if this were true, then why are there different types? Well, according to Clance, one group of Gigantopithecus must have drifted off into Asia and evolved into the Yeti, while another group crossed into northern America, and evolved into the Sasquatch.
Here's a small clip from the Patterson-Gimlin film, one of the most famous, if not the most famous, and the original recorded sighting of Bigfoot.
This clip, the Patterson-Gimlin film, is truly beautiful. Time and time again, people have tried to prove it was a hoax, but not a single person today has been able to prove it was a hoax. In fact, all signs point to the fact that this is an actual recording of a Sasquatch. It can't be a person in a suit. All the proportions are way off. And the gait of this beast is just so smooth, and it is impossible to recreate as a human. It's incredible. And by far, one of the most spectacular things about it is its anatomy. You can see how powerful of a creature it is just by looking at its muscles. It's mind-blowing.
So as I have previously mentioned, I don't believe that Bigfoot is real, but I have done a lot of research on the topic to come up with my own point. Yes, there is a lot of sightings and there is a lot of proof, but let's be real here. Most of the people who have sightings are actually just saying it for media attention. Plus, most of those stories are obviously fake. It actually hurts to listen to them. Now we'll jump into a very recent video clip of what may be a Sasquatch, taken from a person who has requested to stay anonymous. As I've been saying, most sightings are just obviously fake and for attention, but some can be credible as long as you keep an open mind. My theory is that Bigfoot is simply made up for the attention, or people are mistaking bears or other primates for them. Let me tell you some Bigfoot evidence, though. In 2014, a DNA team decided to collect DNA samples of Bigfoot hair from around the world. After receiving a large list of samples, they went through, looked at the DNA results, and not a single DNA sample was anything related to a Bigfoot, although 2 of the samples were from the Himalayas were rather surprising. They were samples of hair from a bear of an unknown species. This could possibly be the answer to everyone's question of the abominable snowman in the Himalayas, but I don't think about a Bigfoot.
Let me tell you the story of my best creation. So, there was this time where I was specially requested to make a very large batch of cupcakes for my mother's party. And it was for a large sum of money. So, of course, I couldn't decline. As always, I start out with the cake mixture. Put in some sugar, some flour, some vanilla extract. And it dawned on me. I had a genius idea. What if I just put a small amount of bleach into the mixture? What would happen? So, I decided to use my family, as anyone would, as my test subjects. I poured a tiny amount of bleach into my mixture, and I made my cupcakes. Later that day, I brought my cupcakes to the party, set them out, and let my experiment begin. My family loved them. I was getting compliments left and right, and nobody seemed to be in any sort of pain, so I got one for myself to try out. Wow. Those cupcakes were the best cupcakes I've ever made in my life. I'm not gonna lie. They were heavenly. And the best part, everyone was okay. Well, there was Johnny. I hate Johnny. You know what he did? He decided to steal 25 of my cupcakes. My babies. My best creation. And what did he do? He ate them all in one sitting. He's gone now. Sadly. But the point is that there was such a small amount of bleach in the greater mixture that not a single person was able to tell it was there. Aside from Johnny, of course, but he doesn't matter.
So, what Master Angelo is trying to say is that if a Sasquatch is out there, imagine what its traveling range would be like. If the creature is as large as evidence supports, then it would probably have a massive traveling range. And considering that there probably aren't many Sasquatch out there, then imagine how difficult it would be to find one in such a large proximity, especially if it doesn't want to be found. There's another theory that Bigfoot may be a distinct relic hominoid. More recently, researchers have discovered that there are more unknown relatives of human than we thought. And one group, Homo floresiensis, was just discovered recently, and it turns out that they haven't been extinct for a very long time. This discovery suggests that there may be more ancient relatives out there, and that they may not all be extinct. It's amazing.
Although there is a lot of proof to support that Bigfoot does not exist, there are some strange things that we just can't jump to conclusions about. This one group of researchers, the Sasquatch Genome Project, discovered 111 specimens of what may be Sasquatch DNA. The leader of this group of researchers, Dr. Ketchum, is absolutely convinced that Sasquatch exists in parts of Northern America, and he is convinced that it is an ancient human relative that arose around 1300 years ago. Now, I'm not the biggest supporter of these ideas. As I said again, I'm a skeptic. But it would be interesting.
Now, let's imagine that Sasquatch is an ancient human relative, as much of the evidence supports. Looking back on the history of our ancient relatives, although they weren't as advanced as us, we can't call them dumb either. One group of them, Neanderthals, even had brain sizes even larger than ours as Homo sapiens sapiens. So, if Bigfoot is an ancient human relative, it is probably relatively smart. So therefore, if it doesn't want to be found, it can probably do a good job of not being found. So if Sasquatch is an elusive creature, that would explain why it is so difficult for us to get visual evidence of it. It would completely make sense. Look at the mountain gorilla, for example. That species was not discovered until the 20th century when a large group of hunters was sent into Africa to hunt down the gorilla. I know, I was good at hiding. I hid in my attic until I was 17 years old. I remember that day perfectly. First day I saw sunlight.
There are so many theories, and there's so much proof to support that Bigfoot exists, that it is nearly impossible to say otherwise. All the facts seem to point to only one solution.
That's all the signs point. Bigfoot exists, and it is an ancient human relative. Yes.
Yes, fine. He's real. He's real.
So clearly, Bigfoot exists and is an ancient human relative. That is the truth, and there's no arguing otherwise because we are the History Channel. Thank you, and have a great day.
There was a time when I was alone, nowhere to go and no place to call home. My only friend was the man in the moon, and even sometimes he would go